All right, so in this next question here, we have a question about total earnings over both days. So we see this here and it says, how much money did he earn total over both of these days being Saturday and Sunday? So when we take a look at this problem here, we see that Ryan earns $23.50 per hour. So I can write that down, $23.50 per hour. And then we see that we have 7 hours logged on Saturday. And then we have 6.75 hours logged on Sunday. So when we take a look at this information here, everybody, one of the ways that we can tackle this problem is, hey, let's take that 2350 and we can multiply that by the 7 hours on Saturday, And then we can take that same 2350 and multiply it by 6.75 hours for Sunday. So again, that's Saturday, and here is Sunday. Now, everyone, when we take a look at this, what can we do with those hours? Given that Ryan makes the same on Saturday and Sunday, what can we do with those hours that are given to us? Yeah, we can add them. We can add them because everybody, think about it like this. If Ryan works 7 hours on Saturday and then 6 and whatever hours on Sunday, that means that total Ryan worked 13 hours and 13.75 hours total, But with that said, everyone, do we understand that that is one of the things that we could do and then doing 2350 multiplied by all of that? Do we agree that that is one option? But at the same time, can we agree that this might not be the fastest way to do it? Can we take a look at this and say, yeah, if I multiply 2350 by 13.75, I don't think that there is a single one of my brain cells that would like to explore that. That's you look at that and that's just ridiculous. So here's what we're going to do. Everyone, if we wanted to estimate, and this is where I'm going to be discussing test taking strategy, so you should really pay attention here. Everyone, when we're talking about estimation, potentially rounding one of these numbers to the nearby whole number so that we can multiply, if you take a look at that option, is that option available to us? And what I mean by that is, are the answer choices far enough apart to be able to make this estimation? In your opinion, can you look at these choices? Can you say, yeah, 300 and 600, $5 and $164, these are far enough apart for me to do a little bit of estimation? And if you agree with that they are far enough apart, then this is where you can save an enormous amount of time here. So very quickly, before I continue with the actual estimated calculation, I want to let everybody know this right here, the 13.75, it comes from adding Ryan's hours on Saturday and Sunday together. And the reason we can do that is because Ryan makes $23.50 regardless of the day of the week. So if we're working 7 hours here and 6.75 there, add them together and we have 13.75. So that's how that gets there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to round it. I'm going to round up to 14 hours. Because when you take a look at the choices, these choices are pretty far apart. And that's going to allow us to do a little bit of estimation. So let's take it into our own hands here. Let's do the 2350 and let's multiply not by 13.75, but by 14. So here you go, 2350 multiplied by 14, 0 times 4. 5 times 4 gives us 20, carry the 2. 3 times 4 gives us 12, carry the 2 is 14. Then from there, we have 2 times 4 is 8, carry the 1, that's 9. And then we'll go ahead and just add a new line here and continue on. 0 times 1 is 0. 5 times 1, let me go ahead and just give myself a little more room here. Then we have 3 times 1, and then 2 times 1. And from here, everybody, add everything back up, and we're good. 0, 0, 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. Carry the 1 is 3. So we're at 329 with 00. But just remember, everybody, we have the decimal place right there. We're going to go ahead and count 1, 2, bring 2 back. So we have just about $329. Everybody, quick question. Because we rounded up to 14 hours, do we have to go up or down from the 329 to make ends meet? Yeah, we have to go down because, again, we overestimated by rounding up, so we have to go a little below what we achieved. So the answer that's just below 329, right here. Answer choice A, $323.12. So when I go over that one more time, everybody, being the answer is A, when I go over the strategy of estimating and then compensating for that estimation, do we see how this can save you a lot of time, especially when we compare it to 23.50 times 13.75? And that's where the experience comes into play again. Again, it's not just about knowing how to get it right. It's about knowing how to save time and still get it right. So taking a look at this next question, everybody, what we're going to do first immediately is we're going to get after the question sentence. And it says, how far apart are they after 2 hours? So we should know this first part, everybody. When we want to ask how far apart two objects are, the word that comes to mind here, everyone, is what again? Yeah, when we're asking how far apart, we are looking for distance. That's what we're taking a look at here. So when we check that out, how far apart, we see those answer choices, they line up. They give us miles. And the time that they give us here is after 2 hours. So what I see here is we have these two hikers, and the biggest piece of information that we're going to be highlighting is that they are traveling at the same time and from the same point, but more importantly, or most importantly, they are traveling in opposite directions. So the one thing we can do to really take a shortcut here is when we take a look at those rates, the first rate being 40 miles per hour and the second rate being 30 miles an hour, because they're going in opposite directions from the same point, we can add those rates together and multiply by the 2 hours. Our formula is distance equals rate times time, and we can be consistent here because the collective distance is going to be equal to the collective rate, which is 40 plus 30, right there. And then the time that they're traveling collectively is 2 hours. My party people, help me out. Hardest question of the day. But what is 70 multiplied by 2 going to give us? Yeah, 70 times 2, that's 140. And there we are, 140 miles. And that's what makes the correct answer here, answer choice B.